Robert here in just a second.
Okay, so we're gonna do pledge and all that.
We don't for time.
Okay.
Yeah. Hang on, let me get recording going.
Okay. Okay, fellas. All right, glad everybody's here. First time session of a new year. And Bill has done a lot of promotion for this fly tying event with the mystique of Robert's surprise fly. Okay. So anyway, anything got a good turnout anyway. Y'all all know that I fish with Carlton Townsend pretty regularly, right? And y'all also all know that Carlton is a very good fisherman and catches lots of fish, right? Well, I'm gonna tell on him, okay? So he comes with me to my cabin in Arkansas occasionally, every chance we get. He unpacks his clothes, sets everything up. Next thing I know, he's out on the back porch, and he's looking through the spider webs to see what has been trapped in the webs out there. And so he has an idea of what the hatch is before we ever hit the water, because he's out there. Okay, so I've sort of picked up that habit, and I'm out there, and this little fella shows up. Let's see. All right, can y'all see that?
Yeah.
It's a little translucent green worm that has a little fuzz on it, right? You see? Can you see the fuzz around his head? The top part is his head, and the let's see. All right.
Yeah, he's got little eyes or something.
Well, I'm going wrong. This end is his head. He's got little eyes on it, and the dark end is his tail. So I see this little fella out there, and I know from my years of fishing there that there's always something falling out of those sycamore trees up and down the river, and fish are always taking advantage of that. So I said, I gotta figure out how to tie this little thing. So I said, what do I have that resembles that? So I go to my fly box and I come up with this little deal. Anybody know what that is?
Oh, green weenie.
That's a green weenie. Okay. Not too different from that little worm I just showed you, right? So, I fish green weenie. You catch a lot of fish on them, but I decided to enhance the green weenie a little bit. Not really the green weenie, but I tried it. I set out to enhance the worm. Okay, it needed some fuzz. This thing doesn't have a lot of movement. I wanted to add some movement to it, and I wanted to have a hot spot on it, so it would have it becomes a really nice attractor fly. So here's what it looks like. This is Robert's surprise. It's got a rabbit fur tail. Okay, it's got a white bead head on it, a tungsten slotted bead. It's got a worm green body it's fuzzy. Okay, so the little worm was an inspiration to this, but this is I don't know what I'd call it, a worm, but it's an attractor fly. And it's got movement, it's got fuzz, it's got flash, it's got hot spot, it's got brilliant colors to it. So it is a very, very effective fly. So this is Robert's surprise, okay? So what I'm going to do in walking you through this, I tried several ways to come up with the fuzzy body on a micro chenille body. And this is what I came up with that is the end result on this particular fly.
So Robert, that's micro chenille or ultra chenille? Is it
Tiny
stuff?
It is ultra micro chenille. Okay. The very small stuff. In worm green. Okay. The tail is a rabbit zonker strip that the strip has been removed from, and you've got all these materials in your package. You've got two packages. I think you'll recognize the one that's got the worm green in it. The fuzzy is SLF prism dubbing, and this particular one is the light gray. Okay, and they make it in 20 colors probably, but this is the prism SLF prism dubbing. The hook, which is I pretty much have gone exclusively to now, are wide gap short hooks. This is a size 14. Okay, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of different brands out there, but this is a competition jig hook, and in size 14. But it's like I said, it's a short shank, wide gap, and I have found that hooks up with fish a lot more than the regular gap hooks that we that I used to use. All right, the bead is a slotted tungsten bead. This is a size 1/8 inch. And this happens to be in pearl white. Now, that's a pretty heavy jig, excuse me, a pretty heavy bead, and a pretty large bead, especially for a size 14 hook. But I'm going to show you what I do to compensate for that. But I want the head to be sort of proportionate and maybe a little bit larger than the body. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So the first thing you need to do is in that package. I've got two smaller packages inside the one, and it's got all those materials in there. Plus, it's got a little bit of lead wire. Check it out. All right, so we've got enough material to tie 2 flies, okay? So we'll do that. So the first thing I want you to do is pull out that rabbit zonker strip.
So they all supposed to be white or?
Yeah, there you should be white in there. Okay. All right. You can cut him one off for that. All right, so I have my zonker strip, and I'm gonna cut it in half. Okay. So you part the fur to where you're about halfway through there, and you cut the strip. Right, so now I have two little pieces of fur.
You cut the leather?
Yeah, cut the zonker strip. Okay.
Get it off the leather?
Sir?
Get it off the leather?
You just cut it in half. All right. See, I now have 2 pieces. So you part the hair to where you don't cut the hair, just cut the leather strip. Excuse me. All right. So take your hook out and your bead out, one of your beads, one of your hooks and one of your beads, and thread the bead through the small hole onto the hook. And this one happens to have a pretty big size hook, and then put it in your vise.
Small hole first.
Yep.
The way you determine where this jaw's gonna be set. It's almost smooth. Stop that bead right in there. And now it's a little solid. And now we take that white bead, put the small hole. Use the small hole of the white bead. And the other patch. Oh, yeah, there is dark brown ones in that one. He's got the white beads.
Huh?
He doesn't have white beads.
He's in the wrong package.
He didn't have it in either one.
Huh? What color bead does he have in the?
The green, olive brown.
Okay, okay, I have some more white beads. Did you have the rabbit, white rabbit?
Yeah, you got the white rabbit.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He just got the white rabbit.
No, that was mine. I packed 20 bags, Mike's all with that business.
Okay, you already got some. Okay, just get that. No, there's a tiny hole and there's a big slot. So put it over the tiny hole.
You gotta run the hook point through the tiny hole. Small hole, run the hook point through it.
Take your time, take your time. You don't have to run off and leave us, sir.
No, I'm waiting.
Okay, great, thanks.
Be careful not to drop the bead. They're hard to get them on there. All right.
Yeah, I got it. You okay, yeah. What I did, it's my technique. Look, I did it right here. I just kind of feel it. Feel it going down. So now be careful. Take it, put it on that. See how it's got the hook mounted right there? So. He's got it on there. Oh, did? I thought there's a small one. It does. Oh, yeah. We just now got my work on. That's why we ain't got.
Shiny dubbing.
I can do this. This is not.
You don't have any?
Rick doesn't.
I don't put
Okay.
tremendous pressure in it, just bad for the advice.
Right here.
Okay. You good? Huh? What? Yeah, but it's not.
That's all they need.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody up? All right, so I use a pink thread because I want a pink hot spot. You can use any color thread you want. You could use a chartreuse on this fly or an olive and not have a hot spot, or you can put a red hot spot, or whatever you want to put on there. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is tie the bead in. So the bead, sort of make it to where it's high to the back of the hook, the top side of the hook. Turn it until that's where you want to tie it in. Basically the slot sticking up. And start your tying thread and start some wraps right behind the bead. All right. And just wrap back to about the point of the hook.
Oh. Oh, what, you don't need that.
All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and clip my end of my thread off. Set that to the trash bin.
And you said to come back to us, a little past the book, I'm almost straight in the side. See where he was, hanging right about here. Let's hold that up and stick it right there. Don't cut the bottom. Start over again.
Yeah. All right, is everybody up to speed on that? Okay. So you have a small piece of lead-free wire in your bag. Get that out. And obviously, I don't need this wire for weight, but I do need it because I have a large bead on a small hook. Okay. And I use that wire to wrap right behind the hook, about 3 wraps to anchor that bead in.
Double it up.
Something like that. And I shove it in and try to get the bead to stabilize with that, or help stabilize it. Okay. Then I take and twist the front end off, push it up into the bead if I can, and that stabilizes the bead on the small hook shank. Cut off the tag end of that. Okay. Try to get it up into that slot if you can. Okay, and then I'll take my thread and I come back up there and try to lock all that together. And now my bead is stable. And stop your thread at the back of the bead. Okay. So now take one of your rabbit fur strips. And what I'm gonna do, I put it in my left hand. Okay. Wet my fingers and I try to pull all that fiber together. Okay. And now I'm going, can y'all see this? Hold it tight. You don't want to let it loose and clip the strip off. Okay. Hold on to it. Don't want to let it go. It's real fuzzy. So you want to get you about however long you want your tail, about that long. And you hold it in at the back. You see how it's sticking over the front. And I'll make a loose wrap. And I'll pull it up and pull that down on top of the hook shank.
Robert, let me see how much you got sticking out the back.
Far out the back, was it?
About the hook length.
Yes.
Okay. And then I want to, before I let go of all that, I want to tie it in and wrap it. You'll keep a firm on turns on the thread. And I go back to about the hook point, maybe just a little bit past the hook point, about where the barb would be. Okay. You see, it's a real thin tail. It doesn't have to be a lot of fibers there. You want to, and like this one, that one's got more in it, but it's kind of, you know, when it's dry, it's fuzzy. And then when you get that done, clip the excess off at the top, just sort of flush with the bead there. Wrap back to the bead and sort of take that little bit of material and tuck it in there behind the bead. Okay. All right. Everybody got the thread back up to the back of the bead. All right. So you take your micro chenille. You don't have to cut it in half. You don't want to cut it in half. You'll have enough left over. It's easier to handle when it's a little bit longer. I put it on the top of the hook and start tying it in. And I want it on top, also on top of the bead. Top of the hook shank. Wrap it back to where you wrap the tail. Just a little wrap past where the tail is.
Past? Oh, right with the dies of the sail?
Yeah, just take just maybe one wrap more to get it to cover the back of the tail. When I start wrapping it, you see, the first wrap will be over the fur and not the thread.
So where's the thread supposed to be hanging right now?
One wrap back from where it was. You know, it's going to be about, mine is not, of course, my vise is probably about where a barb would be, somewhere in there. Doesn't have to be that, anywhere between right at the point to about where the barb would be. I really don't want to make sure you don't roll down, turn down the curve of the hook. You want this to be straight. Okay. Everybody caught up? Now, this is the way I apply the dubbing. Okay, you got your dubbing. I'm gonna take that and pull it in half it. Okay, so it's not over here, not a lot of dubbing. It's got a little bit of dubbing. And I take my thread, my micro chenille, and I pull it toward me, straight back. And I take a part of this bundle, just a little bit of it. We're not going to be heavy on dubbing. You don't want to overdub it. I lay it on top of the micro chenille. Just sort of let it lay up there.
So you halved what you gave us, and then
I just take a little pinch of that.
then you divide that.
Yep. I've got about an inch of dubbing on top of my chenille, and it's thin. I want it thin. Can y'all see it there? Sort of thin. Now you'll as I wrap this, you're gonna harvest some more of that stuff because it's not all gonna bind when you do it. And I don't want a lot of it. I don't want it to be bulky with chenille. I mean with the dubbing. Okay, everybody got that? Lay it on top of their. Got it? All right, now I'm going to take my thread. I'm going to make sure I get I got to get my thread back up to the front. Hold on. All right, I didn't tell you that. Let me pull that away. I'll wrap my thread back up to the back of the bead. And I get it out of the way. All right, now I'm going to redo all my dubbing. All right, there's where I want to be. All right, everybody ready? Then we're going to take it and go over the top of the hook shank and do sort of firm and touching wraps with this dubbing material attached to it. And don't worry about trying to pull it back. Just try to keep it all together. Now, see, I'm losing a little bit. I probably need to add just a tad, but not much. Until I'm losing part of it. Keep wrapping. That's 3 wraps. That's 4 wraps. And I am at 5 wraps, and I'm back. I'm back to my bead. You want them touching and firm so that your pink thread is not showing. Now I'm gonna do an extra wrap and snug it up real tight behind that bead. If you need to add a little bit more dubbing, be sure you have some on every wrap. And don't let go of it. Hold on to it. All right, and then tie it off. Go around behind it with your pink thread. 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps, and I'm going to go around the other side of it once. And now I'm ready to cut it off and sort of snug that down where it's tight. Okay. All right, now I'm ready to trim off this. And my end is on my side of the fly, so you can't see it. Trim it off. Set it down. It's tied in. All right. And I'm gonna pull all this stuff back just a little bit so that I can finish the tying it off. I'm gonna do a couple of wraps. Now, usually for durability, I will apply a head cement or something on this line. I'll show you how I do it. You don't have to do that, but I do it. And I use this. If you can read it. Anyway, it's hard as hull penetrator. This is a thinner material, and I didn't give you all this, but I'm just showing you this. You don't have to do this. I put a little bit on there, the thread, anchor it in real good. I'll make a couple of wraps with that, then I get my whip finisher out, and I'll finish my hot spot. All right. I only made 4 wraps on my hot spot because I got the glue, the adhesive in there. And then I cut my thread loose. Okay, now, last step. Everybody give them a pair of scissors. We're gonna give this baby a haircut. All right, so sort of pull loose dubbing. You see, you've got a lot of strands of the dubbing, and I'm going to clip it off. Clip off. We're gonna just sort of trim up around underneath. I don't want that. I don't want it. I want a shorter, fuzzy look, not all that stuff. When it gets to the water long like that, it just streams behind you. It's not terrible. So cut all the long strands. You can leave a long one every once in a while. It might give it a little bit flash into the tail area. All right. So you can make it as fuzzy, short, or sort of medium length, but there's your flash with the fly.
I like that.
That's nice, isn't it? Catches lots of fish.
That will work.
So
It will work, I call.
This one you don't have
big number of fish on the other day?
a combination of it, the mop we're gonna tie, and waltz worm. I'll use waltz worm a lot.
Is this one finished?
Yeah, I'm gonna show them a couple of things here. All right, so many various, this color here. Extremely good. White with a pink spot on it. Very, very effective. White on white. Okay. In darker colored water. Purple and pink.
Looks like crappie jig.
Yep.
Yeah. The thing is, you mentioned crappie. If you upsize this thing and tie it with a size 10 hook, and
Jig head hook, the lead jig.
or something with a barb on it, you fish for crappie.
What's it do with the 10 hook? You said it's good for crappie?
Yep, just upsize. If you want to fish it for crappie, just upsize it.
Okay.
All right. This one, very, very many fish caught on that color right there. Chartreuse and black. And this has the zonker is a multicolored black and chartreuse.
That's a black berry.
That's a zonker on sale or?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So would you do a black marker to?
No, this is bought in two-tone.
That's where that rabbit came.
Yeah, this is a,
Mike,
Mike, this is a black Easter bunny that's grown out his chartreuse dye.
You just got out of the hair salon.
Yeah.
Got some roots, got some roots.
Yeah, this is roots. Okay,
All right.
that's that fly. Y'all want to try another pattern or do we?
Yeah,
all
let's try another pattern. I'm gonna start the video. You're gonna do the mop next?
You want to go? Yeah, all right. So you have material to do one more of these when you get home, okay?
Let me stop that.
Homework?
Homework.
All right, and we're gonna do a mop now. Okay, let me restart the video. All right, go on.
All right.
Come back and do trades and say $5. All right, so what we're tying now?
Just tie the mop fly.
Okay. So that's stuff you like this?
Okay.
Are we gonna need any dubbing in that?
No,
Okay.
So we're needing any wire for that?
no,
So the hook's the same?
no. It's a different package. It's a size 12 hook. All right. So I'm gonna put in a finished product here. And you may have in your package different colors. I think I've got a chartreuse and maybe a yellow. And you may have a different colored bead head. It doesn't matter, you know. So okay, so everybody knows that for some reason a mop fly is controversial. Okay, the only reason I could think it can be controversial because it will outcatch any other thing you put on there, just about. Okay, so this fly is not that old. There's a guy named Jim Estes up in North Carolina. He's a fly creator, and so he's going through his family dollar store, and he runs across a mop that you do your kitchen floor with. Okay, he says, "Man, that would make a nice fly." So he puts that little whatever you call the thing on a hook and bead. Okay, and it catches fish. Okay, so they claimed that it resembled a certain type of worm in that part of the country called a green sourwood worm. Okay, a green sourwood worm. Sort of like my worm, my little green worm. Okay. But they also discovered that it catches fish when there are no worms. So it catches fish anytime, anywhere, anytime. So this fly was sort of they say a well-kept secret up in the Smoky Mountains for several years until a guy named Lance Egan used it in a USA fly fishing tournament. I think Olympic, maybe he was an Olympic on the USA Olympic team up in the Adirondack Mountains up in upper
New York.
Right, you kind of know where that is, right?
Got that.
So anyway, I'm not sure that is still. I think it's been banned from competition fishing, but to me, it's nothing more than another material. If I'm going to the Battenkill and the Catskill Mountains, to Roscoe, New York, to they call it Trout Town, USA. If I'm going there, I'm not gonna fish a mop fly. I'm gonna go to Joe Dietz fly shop there, and I'm gonna find out what they're biting on, and
But you're gonna have something in your box.
it'll have some in my truck. But I wouldn't use one up there. I mean, that's a purist, you know, the birthplace of dry fly fishing in the US, they say. You know, I wouldn't use it up there. I'd use something else. I'd use a squirm worm or something like that.
Hey.
So anyway, you know, so I guess it's controversial, but anyway, I have started out tying this fly like many people do. You know, the tail and some type of body. Okay, this is just a thread body, but you can use any number of things, and people use everything. But I wanted one that was complete and more uniform in appearance. And I tried several ways to get this look. Now, I didn't come up with this idea that I'm going to show you. I saw it on YouTube. Somebody else did. And I said, man, I really like that. I'm going to try that. So this is the way I tie my flies now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. So in your package, you have 2 mops of two different colors and 2 hooks and beads. Okay. So we're going to get, and I'm on chain. You can put a pink hot spot on a mop fly. You can put a hackle on it. You can put a dubbing collar on it. You can do all kinds of things. It's up to you to figure out what you want to do with that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to switch off to a chartreuse thread, and I'm like a mop fly. So get both of your little mop tentacles out. Get one of your hooks and beads out. Okay. So now, same type of jig hook, same type of tungsten bead, except in this case, I am using a number 12 short wide gap hook. And what really turned me on to wide gap hooks is the mop fly, because if you notice, the body is very thick, and that wide gap will greatly improve your hook set and hook up over a smaller hook that your hook point is maybe even touching the body. Now, I learned that through experience, and I would take a regular hook and I would widen it myself with my pliers, and my hookup rate would increase. Instead of 1 in 4, I'd catch 3 in 4. It would greatly improve. Okay, so that's why I use a wide gap hook. So take your bead, your hook, and put the bead on your hook and put it in your vise. And this is a 5/16 bead. This is a heavy bead, a big bead. It's bigger than the hook that you got a bigger hook and a bigger bead than we had before.
This is tungsten too.
This is also a tungsten. It's heavy. And you see how if you just push it, the heavy part of the bead goes to the underside of the hook. And then if you turn it, it will go to the top. You see how that thing, if you let it rest, how it hangs under the hook, you want it up like that. And it gets closer to the bead. All right, take your thread. I don't have mine threaded. And I'm using a 210 on this one. You can still use the 140. I wouldn't use a 70 on this. Because it's getting bigger and bigger. All right. So we got our bead sitting up high on the hook, and you're going to tie it in at that point. And I tie back, get my thread started.
That's where you got that?
Just to cover, just about to the point of the hook. And I come back and try to lock this bead in. Yeah, you can, because it is big. You can do the same thing I did with the 3 wraps of wire to help lock this bead in. It's important to, get it, build up enough thread to lock it in. And you sort of run little tapers back and forth, building the front of it until it gets to where it won't move. Okay. So, all right, has everybody got their bead tied in? Got your thread right behind the bead.
Can I see this one here?
Okay. So this thing is longer than I want it. And I'm fixing to tie in just the tail portion of it. So I'm going to use about, figure out how long I want my tail. Now mine, I want it about that long. And I figure out where I need to cut the front of it to do that. Well, really, yeah. Okay. So that's where I'm going to cut this thing into, is right there. Cut the front part of it off. Okay.
Can you hold it up there where we can see how far it goes out the back, Robert, please?
Something like that.
Okay.
I don't want it long.
About shaft length.
Yeah, and I got a short hook, so it's not that long. Okay, now I grab the very tail end of it and I start pulling fibers off this thing, exposing the cords that are in the front of it. And I'll pull off enough. It makes a mess. All right, so you see you got a bunch of cords there, and I'm going to tie that into the hook shank and put my tail, beginning of my tail, where I want it. So I sort of hold it in place right there. Can y'all see that? I'll make a loose wrap and start tying those thread particles in. Oh, mine slipped. Slipped again. I didn't tighten it up. All right, that's about where I want it. So I'm gonna tie it all the way back. Back to the front. If I have any excess thread showing at the back of the head, I want to clip that off. And tie that into tight to the back of the bead. Okay. So that's the way I would normally, years ago, would have tied this thing, and it did something with that part of the body. Okay. And see, I don't have it all. I don't want it tied to the bend. I don't want to go that far back on the hook. I want it straight. Okay. So now let your thread hang at the front of the deal. Now you take your other long mop material and you do the same. You pull the material away from the head and expose the cords again.
Same color?
Same color.
Did you wrap all the way back to the hook point?
Yeah, I wrapped it back, tie the body in to the back. Yeah. Wherever I want the tail to start, that's where I wrap to. And again, if I want a durable fly, I'm gonna put some of this stuff on there. But you don't have to do that.
What's the name of that, Robert?
This is a hardest hull penetrator. It's a hairline product.
Is it like Sally Hanson's kind of?
Yeah, but it's thin. It'll soak into this material. And then since I've got that on there, I'm gonna put another wrap of thread just to sort of cover it a little bit. And it will not go anywhere. The bead will not go anywhere. Most of the times when a fly fails for me, the bead slips back down the hook. It's not anchored good, or it comes up. Okay, so now I'm back to exposing the ends of this. You see, I've got several little ends of the cord showing. I'm gonna take those things and I'm gonna pull this thing apart. Unwrap, it'll split right down the middle. Okay, and I've got a little corkscrew of a material that I'm gonna make the body out of. That's my chenille for the body. Now,
so you just grab two of those in each hand and pull?
yeah. And if they don't pull, grab two different ones. All right, let it sort of unravel. All right. So you've got a little, it's got lots of memory in it, right? Okay. That'd be perfect if you could get that to wrap over your hook. So depending on, I'm gonna wrap over and under. So I'm gonna look at this thing and I'm gonna see, oh, I want that end. I want this end, because this spiral is set up for, no, they're both set up for under and over. Okay. So anyway.
You're talking about the direction of the spiral facing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm gonna tie this thing in. Because what I'm gonna do is tie in the end and then I'm gonna flip it to come back forward. So I'm not gonna worry about that. I don't know which way to do it. Looks the same. But I'm gonna also pull loose some more of this material and expose a little bit of the cord, and I'm gonna tie that cord in at the top, right behind the bead, and I'm gonna wrap it back to my tail.
Are you got it closed up like this, Jasmine? Oh, never mind. Okay, I see what you mean. Thank you.
And you want to get to where your first wrap is going to sort of overlap the very end. You need to get it tight enough to where that first wrap is going to make it look kind of uniform. And I'm going to take my thread back to the bead. Okay, and I'm going to get it out of my way. Is everybody with me there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you just pull it, Lindsay, just pull it, grab two of the cords and pull it apart. Which, you're not the one that's tied in, your spare one.
I already tied that spare one in.
Oh, okay, but before you unwrapped it? Okay, it's gonna be hard to do. You need to untie it in.
So now I got the others, so this.
Just pull them apart. Yeah. Got it? Now expose the cord on one end of it and tie it in behind the bead toward the back, the end of the hook. All right, everybody up? All right, so now we're going to wrap the body back toward the bead. Try to figure out how it's gonna work. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. See if you can get it. You may have to twist it as you do it to get it going there straight.
You pull it tight when you're doing it, or is
Huh?
that you pull it tight?
Yeah, keep it firm, not real, don't break anything. And you wrap it all the way back to tight to the back of the bead. Okay, don't let go of it and tie that in. It's pretty thick, but the fly is gonna have a little bump to the body, but that's why you got a big head on it, big bead on it. So tighten it in over the squiggly behind it, and then cut off the excess without cutting your string, your thread. All right. Huh? Yep, could be. Now it's little fuzz. You caught the mop material, but when you start to finish it off, try to catch a little bit more of it to make sure it'll hold. And see if you wanted to dub this with some dubbing, you can. If I were going to dub this, I would go and get some peacock SLF and put it on my thread and dub it, but I'm not going to do that. And then I'm going to apply that adhesive to my thread again, down about 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna wrap that in and glue that in. And then I'm gonna take my whip finisher. And it's also, going into the adhesive. 3 or 4 wraps. Tie it off. Cut the thread. So Don't do what?
Would it get hung around the back? That's something like-
On the bottom of the body, but between the hook point and the body.
You could. I mean, that's why you have a wide gap 12, size 12 hook, because that's a pretty thick body there, doing it this way. I've not had any problems with hookup on this fly with that hook. Now, if I had a regular hook that was touching the belly, it never would catch fish. The belly is really the back. This is the way it sits in the water.
Robert, what's the name of that person other than Robert Hughes?
It hadn't been named. It don't have a name. It's Robert's Surprise. That's what we're gonna call it for now. But this fly is very buoyant when it's dry. When it's wet, it sinks like a rock. If you catch a bunch of fish on it, it begins to smell like a fish. It's very absorbent.
So it's catching more fish.
It
It's catching bigger fish.
it will have a natural fish scent to it.
Now, you don't catch worms on your moth flies before you.
Do what?
You don't catch worms.
No.
That smell like worms.
No, but it will smell like a fish, and it'll get blood on it, and it'll absorb all that. It gets real ugly, but the uglier it gets, the more fish it catches. And I'm not so sure that's not the secret to the mop fly, is the absorbent material.
My problem is I just catch one fish and that's it.
I know better than that.
Carlton's thumb, I think, twitches on that counter sometimes.
No, it don't. I've
Try to
seen
give
it.
him a hard time, but it's
Yeah.
mandatory.
And I like them, Robin.
That's good, Robert.
All right, good deal. Y'all got enough material for another one if you want to.
Same thing.
Flip, Peter, y'all good? Jim, I know you can't talk, so.
Yeah, I never would have thought about that mop fly technique. That is awesome. Thanks a lot.
Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
And I've never seen dubbing on chenille like that before, because if you look at that, it's just barely a little fuzz to that body from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, Robert. Pretty
Yeah,
cool
thanks.
stuff. All right, y'all, did you enjoy Robert's surprise? Was that fun?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, see, I wasn't just marketing, it really was a surprise. So it's all good.
Hey, Jim, what does this look like to you? That's a prototype.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Is that dry fly hackle on it? Or just saddle, the small saddle?
You know, I've got a, what is that, that tail on it? You'll recognize what that is. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a goose pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure looks like a gobble worm.
Yeah. Hadn't seen any up there.
See if you can find one.
All right, Robert, you got anything else for us?
That's it. Go catch some fish.
Hey, Robert.
Robert.
All right, y'all. Thanks. Peter, you doing well?
Yeah, I am. You too, I hope.
Oh, yeah, everything. Yeah, we're good. Just hoping for some better weather to fish. I know you are too. So.
Yeah.
Is Flip still on there?
Yeah, Flip's there.
Hey, Flip, I ended up your brown and black or crawfish and black leeches.
Mhm.
I promise you they'll catch fish. I ain't got 'em yet.
Well, if you notice, 3 of them have a tungsten head and 3 of them have a glass bead.
Right, I noticed that.
All right.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
Well, I'm looking forward to giving them a whirl.
All right.
See if anybody on the, Zoom, left any, waiters.
At the, left waiters. Flip, did you leave waiters? Jim, Jim can't talk to us. I don't think, on his computer.
Okay. Anybody leave a pair of, waiters at the festival?
Not I.
Okay,
What kind of waders were they?
fly fishing waiters.
I know what brand. Orbis?
Or Sam's? or
No,
something?
they work the really, I don't know what they are. I didn't look at them. I
Oh,
still.
well, anyways, somebody got one on the,
They won those.
Oh, yeah, they won
picked
those.
yeah, I mean, what you want to know.
This is something just left on the desk there by the entry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, y'all, next month, we're gonna do 2 flies. We're gonna do a couple of takes on hares here, a little bit something different. One, just a basic one like you may have seen before, but it's such a good pattern. It's a soft tackle hare's ear, and we're gonna do a different take, a second pattern. Rick. He's talking in the back of the classroom back there.
Yeah.
He's accusing me of fraud.
Yeah. This is a Christmas present. It has little low flies on it. You open it up, it's all saltwater flies.
But, and the second one we're gonna tie is kind of like it's not the same, but it's a simpler version of one of Carlton's favorite flies for trout, which is God's choice hare's ear. But it's a simpler version of that, a little bit quicker to tie, using some different materials that make it hopefully good, but just a little bit easier to tie. So that's what we're doing next month. One's a bead head soft tackle and one's a unweighted soft tackle. If you're like me, you love fishing those unweighted soft tackles just under the water, just under the surface, and stripping them. They're a lot of fun. All right, gents, we'll see y'all next month. Peter, good to see you. Flip.
Good seeing you. Take care, guys.
ASAP.
Good night.
All right, good night, y'all.